Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Today we will continue talking about the Kosala. Actually, you can see the picture, right? He eat a lot, his meal. So sometimes Kimbasandi Kosala is the Buddha. Since he has overeaten, he cannot listen respectfully to the Buddha. So that means sometimes his body becomes very heavy, a lot of drowsiness. Then he cannot pay attention to the Buddha saying anymore. Then the Buddha reminded him not to eat too much. Since he like eating a lot, it's not that easy for him to moderate in food. Then the Buddha remind him with a stanza. For a person who is always mindful, who knows moderation in foods, he has less sickness. He ages slowly and preserves his life. This is the Buddha saying to Kammaṭṭhānācariya Kosala. And not only that, he also asks one of his attendants, we can also say his nephew, Sudarsana. Then he also recommended his nephew to remember what the Buddha said. So Sudarsana, his nephew, had to memorize this stanza. For a person who is always mindful, who knows moderation in food, he has less sickness, he ages slowly, and breathes up his life. Not only memorizing, Buddha also recommended him to chant when the game was eaten. So this is also one thing we have to clarify. If the young man so does not chant in the very beginning of eating, and the king will stop eating, right? That's why he said, okay, don't chant in the very beginning of meal. Now that he cannot control his desire, so he may eat as he like. Also, don't recite in the middle of eating also. If he recite in the middle of eating, he may stop or he may not stop. That means if he stop, he cannot feel happy in his mind. So finally, the Buddha recommended him when the last part of meal, when a few mouthful, one mouthful remain, recite. So the next time also remind the kitchen to reduce the amount of rice for cooking. So every single day, when there's one mouthful remain in his bowl, the young man does not recite it. For a person who is always mindful, who knows moderation in foods, he has less sickness, he ages slowly and then breathes out his life. He always recites. So he reduces the foods little by little. Gradually, he can balance his foods. Okay, the main thing is here in this story, in this sutta, we just need to talk about moderation in foods or moderating in foods. In Pali, we call bhojane matanyu. Okay, that means if we say bhojane matanyu, there will be many other things we have to know. The one is patikahana, receiving. So when we are going to receive the foods, we must know the amount of the food we can consume. This is one of the things we have to be very careful. So there will be one thing. Sometimes some donors, they want to offer after receiving the food. Okay, particularly in PMC, you have that kind of culture, right? We already take food from the table. After that, some donor, they come to offer when we are sitting. When we are receiving food, we're going to moderate in food. Now, what to do? Many donors come to offer. If we don't accept, so they are not very happy. Okay, here we have the next one. Pariboga, consuming or when eating. So when we are going to eat, we must have moderation. We must choose only suitable food for us. If something is unsuitable, we must not take that one. This is also important. So not only suitable food, we also have to know the amount of food we can consume. So if we set many foods we cannot eat, then there will be leftover foods. And nobody wants to eat. It's a wasting. So sometimes before eating, we also separated the food we cannot eat. Then, okay, that part will be suitable for other people for eating. In another body bhoga, consuming, we also have to know proper amount we can eat, or suitable food we can eat. This is also important for moderation in food. Okay, now the last one, Vajrakana, reflection or reflections. So we have a regular recitation or regular chanting. This is the normal, right? So that we have to reflect the purpose of eating. So you may have already known the purpose of eating is to sustain this body. When we become very hungry, there will be sickness. If we eat too much, also there will be sickness. So we must balance. We must moderate in food. Also, you have already known this kind of reflection in our daily chant. This is very formal recitation in every meditation center, in every community of bhikkhus. So these are called Vajrakana. So when we do Vajrakana also, we can moderate in food. We can also understand three, right? Parigana, Paribhoga, Vajrakana. There will be another way of analysis about moderation in food. We can also say Pariyasana when we are looking for food or when we are going for Bindapada. This is one thing. When we are accepting, when we are eating, there will be moderation in food. But the main thing is if we can moderate in foods, our body becomes lighter, we have less sickness. Right? Not only that, we will grow older slowly. We will be ages slowly. We can preserve our lives. This is also one of the benefits of moderation in food. So the Buddha recommended to moderate in food. But this is the first part of today's talk. We have to talk about his grandmother. One day, Kempa Kosala approached the Buddha after the funeral. His grandmother passed away. That is why he was very sad. Not only that, as we have mentioned in Visakha's story, his body is wet. Because in the midday, he came to see the Buddha. Of course, he's not very happy. He had very deep sorrow. That's why he came to see the Buddha. That he also reported, Venerable Sir, Venerable Blessed One, my grandmother is dear to me. and beloved to me. Also, Venerable Sir, I could obtain her life by means of any treasure. That means if I can give my elephant treasure, my mother will not, my grandmother will not die. If somebody say like that, I will give my treasure elephant treasure. So elephant will be very expensive, very valuable, but for my grandmother, I can give up my elephant. Not only that, if somebody say, if you give your horse treasure, very valuable horse, then you can regain your grandmother. Your grandmother may not die. If somebody say like that, I will give my horse treasure. If somebody say, if you give a big village, then he may have many villages in his country. Some village will be very rich. He can get a lot of tax from that kind of village. If you give very rich village to me, you can obtain your grandmother. Then he will give that village to anybody. So he also say, if he had to give big city, a big region, even he had to give up his country, he dare give up for his grandmother. That's how much he loved his grandmother, right? He just show how much he loved his grandmother. This is the first part. He talked to the Buddha. Of course, the Buddha said, very simple, Great King, all beings are subject to death. They have their life and in death. They cannot escape the death. The Buddha remind him like this. Not only that, the Buddha also give long instruction. All beings will die. For life has death as its end. So this is a very common statement in Buddha teaching. So all our life will end in the death. This is normal. But not only that, when we pass away, what will happen? They will go according to their actions, inheriting the result of good and bad deeds. So when we pass away, we can bring only good and bad results of good and bad deeds. We cannot bring any of our belongings. Although we have many soldiers, our soldier cannot protect us from death. Not only that, although we have big amount of money, right? I will give money, please allow me to survive longer, to live longer. We cannot do it. So according to our karma, we pass away. Also, according to our karma, we will experience good and bad in the future. Not only those who do evil action go to hell, those who do good go to happy destination. As a Buddhist, we have already know all these things. This is very common teaching in both suttas. Okay, now here we have a few more steps. Therefore, one should do wholesome deeds, storing up merit for the future lives. Okay, here one more thing we have to think about this statement, storing up, right? So you may misunderstand there is some place we can store up our merit, our kusala and agusala. Then you may have that kind of misunderstanding, right? It's just a metaphor. We cannot store, we don't have any story like this. Then in some places they also ask some similar question, right? Is there any place where we can store up our kusala and agusala? Like now, modern society and internet, we can use like a iCloud or bCloud or many cloud, right? Then we can also buy some space from their clouds. We can also store our data there, right? So we misunderstand. Okay, we have that kind of storage. In reality, we don't have that kind of storage. So in the process, they will arise again when the time ripens. Right? This goal we call storing up merit for the future lives. Okay, now here we have a few more steps. For merit are the supports of being in the next world. So this is the statement of the Buddhas. Okay, here we should elaborate a few more things about it. See, the Buddha also gave many simile of it. Buddha gave the simile of the pot made by potter. If you have seen the process of making pots, especially clay pots, right? Then you may know very beginning is like a totally matte or clay, a soft clay. Then we can make the pot. So sometimes we cannot make properly. We have to smash the clay. We have to redo. If there are sometimes after drying up, is the raw material of the clay pots. When we move here and there, it crashed, and we have to throw away. Sometimes when we are going to dry under the sand, then it crashed. We have to throw away. Sometimes when we are baking, then it crashed. We have to throw away. But sometimes some pots, after getting normally after baking, we can also get good pots. After using sometimes by accident, we drop or we spoil the clay pot. But sometimes when it become very long time, after using very long time, then it will like damaged by natural disaster. It can also spoil. Similarly, there are many types of living beings in this world. They pass away in many different conditions. There are some living beings after rebirth linking mind moments. Only a few moments they pass away. This kind of thing also can happen. There are some living beings in the mother's womb, they pass away before they were born, right? There are some people or some living beings after newly born, they pass away. There are some people they will pass away in the middle age. Some people they will pass away maybe when they grow very old. So everybody have to encounter the death. We're gonna avoid. Then the Buddha also remind him to do kusala, to do more kusala for the future lives. So that means if somebody passed away, we cannot have them. Only their kusala akusala can have. This is also common teaching in Buddhism. This is about his grandmother. Okay, there are many good and bad informations about Kammaṭṭhānācariya Kosala. Although the Buddha spent very long time in Savatthi, I already mentioned 25 Vassa to 44th Vassa. The Buddha came to Savatthi every Vassa. After spending Vassa in Savatthi, the Buddha left for another region. So, although he had opportunity to see the Buddha many times, he hadn't attained any path in future knowledge. Of course, he has very strong devotion to the Buddha. And sometimes he also made some mistakes. Anyway, So if we talk about Pasini Kosala, there are many stories we can learn about him in Kosala Samyutta in Samudra book of the first book, the first volume. So it will be a very long story about him. So last night I have already talked about, we will go to the next king who met the Buddha after 20 Vassa. So how can we know he met the Buddha after 20 Vassa? Actually, if I show the description, you will understand which king, Ogusati. He met the Buddha very late. So that means he had a good friend from Rajagaha, King Bimisara. They have never seen each other, but many of the traders came to Rajagaha to see the King Bimisara. The king Bimisara asked, who is your king? How old is he? They are the same age. That's why the king Bimisara sent many different gifts for Bhikkhu. The Bhikkhu also, the king Bhikkhu also sent back to Bimisara. They become friends, although they have never seen each other. But King Bimisara thought one day. So there are many different types of treasure in the world. So some of the treasure are living things, some of the treasure are non-living things. So here I should send non-living treasure, incomparable treasure. That's why he make many different leaves, golden leaves, to write down something important to the king. He packed everything very well. So it will be very long inscriptions. He sent many golden leaves with many different inscriptions on it. Okay, the main thing is King Bogusati of Takashila became Buddhist, although he had never seen the Buddha. How he became Buddhist? Because King Bimbisara sent him many informations about the Buddha. The first thing is the 10 perfections. So you have already known 10 perfections, so I will not list out all the 10. So we can also say 10 perfections is a very good quality of human being. If we don't have good mindset, if we don't have good attitude, we cannot fulfill the perfections. So King Bimbisara written down about 10 perfections, how Bodhisattva fulfill 10 perfections, sent to Bogusati. He came to realize what is really called 10 perfections, how Bodhisattva fulfill. And not only that, life story of the Buddha. He also written down the life story of the Buddha. So you can also imagine how it will be. So from the birth to at the moment of his rebirth, his birth, so he became ascetic after renunciation, how he practiced, and how he became the Buddha, how he delivered his courses. He gave all the life story of the Buddha in detail. How Bodhisattva practice in detail. Not only that, he also wrote Buddha Guna. So you have already know what is the Buddha Guna, right? As Buddhists, we have already learned Buddha Guna. We have already memorized Buddha Guna. Of course, he also written down the meaning of Buddha Guna, Buddha qualities. Then again, Dhamma Guna, Dhamma's quality, Swakata Bhagavata Dhamma, with explanation. Then again, Sangha Guna, Sangha's quality. Subhuti Bano Bhagavato Savaka Sangha, all the things like that. So learning these information from the golden leaves, inscription in the golden leaves, is very joyful for him. He feels joy, very, very much joyful. That means you can also imagine when we have new information, right? When we get new knowledge, we can feel happy also, right? So every day we have new knowledge, new experiences, very happy. Okay, for example, when you meditate, you may experience many different things. For example, when you start seeing the light, how do you feel? A lot of excitement, right? You get excited. You want to see it, but it fades away very easily because of excitement. Similarly, when you start seeing the nimitta, then you may feel happy with new experiences. Although you cannot see the nimitta, if you can see rapture, joy, tranquility, you can also feel happy. This new experiences for you. So this is a new knowledge for him. Okay, now we have to move the next part. This also mentioned Chula Sila, lesser morality. You may think it's very simple, right? Lesser morality. Actually, when we study lesser morality in Digha Nikaya, you may have known the first sutta, Brahmajala Sutta. We also have known Samanyapala Sutta, right? In these two sutta, not only two sutta, actually, there are many other sutta they mention about Chula Sila. Sorry. If we say Chula Sila, we can also understand simply. For example, if we talk about wrong speech, abstaining from wrong speech, this is also called Chula Sila. So you may have already known 10 precepts. Okay, one more thing here. In the 10 precepts, you have already known Uttasana Mahasayana, right? Living in luxurious place or luxurious seat. This is also one of the Chula Sila. In the 10 precepts, it also include Musawada, but it does not include other wrong speech. That's why here we have to say separately all the wrong speech include in Chula Sila. Another thing is, as an ordinary person, which if we accept like some like a petty fee or rights fee or plantation, this is also wrong livelihood. This is also one of the Chula Sila, avoiding or abstaining from accepting plantations or farming. We also have like a raw rice or raw paddy. If we accept it, this is also wrong livelihoods. That means it's also not allowable for bhikkhus. So the Buddha himself never accepts raw rice and raw paddy. This is also Chula Sila of the Buddha. Another thing is that accepting living things. Okay, for example, like a slave. At the time of the Buddha, they have slaves, right? Accepting slaves. Man or woman is not allowable. Not only that, they may offer the cows, bulls, goats, sheep, any other living beings, like what is called chicken, geese, right? Dogs, or any kind of animals. If we accept that kind of living being, this is also not allowable for ordinary person. We are also under the name of Jula Sila, lesser morality. But not only that, if we accept raw meat or fresh meat before cooking, this is also called unallowable. This is also unallowable. If we avoid it, this is also called Jula Sila. Another thing is like a cheating people or tricking people. Now you may have already know online scam, right? This also wrong livelihoods. Another Jula Sila. Sometimes we may forcefully take other people's belonging. This is also under the name of stealing. Also considered as a Jula Sila. So that means Buddha avoids doing all these kind of wrong things, bad things. This is called Jula Sila. Then again, we have Majjhima Sila, the middle morality. We can also understand like a medium morality. So this is what we a little bit higher than Jula Sila. Why this is called Jula Sila? Right? That means this is very common. Even ordinary people have to avoid. Even some nobody actually also avoid doing that kind of things. That's why they are Jula Sila. Okay, now Majjhima Sila. We also have Buddha Kamma, Visa Kamma. Okay, now practically we have Kapyankrohi in the center, right? So sometimes they also do Kapyankrohi even not very mature yet. For example, some cucumber. It's very young cucumber. The seed also very soft. It cannot regrow. But the donor, they want to do Kapyankrohi, right? So we have to do, okay, anyway, this is it. Okay, for the happiness, we can do it. But although we don't do Kapyankrohi, it's okay. That means Buddha Kamma, Vijja Kamma. If we cut the trees or the plants, this is Buddha Kamma. Vijja Kamma means if we spoil the seeds, then this is called Vijja Kamma. So we are not allowed to do, that means we are not allowed to cut the trees or to spoil the seeds of the plant. So the Buddha also avoids cutting trees and plants. The Buddha also avoids spoiling the seeds. It can be any kind of seed. It can become the joint also, for example, like sugar cane, right? We can use joints for plantation. We can also use like a root or tuva or something we use that you branch, or we can use some sapling. We can also use anything for propagation, for plantation. As long as we can plant from any kind of branch or joint or seeds or like a sprout, is not allowable to spoil. So the Buddha himself avoid doing this kind of things. This is called Majjhima Sila. Another thing is like many storing belonging. For example, we may store our foods for the next day. This is also not allowed, right? Similarly, we may store up many robes, many clothes, right? Then this is also not allowed. Okay, one more thing here. It will be different conditions. Sometimes you may store up many robes to offer. In this case, it will be exceptions. Sometimes we just store up many robes. We just keep many clothes, just to show how rich we are. This is bad attitude, right? This is bad mindset. Sometimes we just want to show how much we are rich. Not only that, we also want to show how many devotees do we have, how rich my devotees is, right? How rich my devotees are. That do show that kind of things is not allowed. So we are not allowed to store up foods, clothes, and not only that, even vehicles, things like slippers. Because there are many things we cannot keep for sure with the greedy minds. The Buddha himself never keep many clothes, food, and living space for himself. That's why this is called Majjhima Sila. Another thing is like a festival and entertainment. Enjoying festival and entertainment. This is also one of the Majjhima Sila. Actually, when we go and study in Digha Nikaya, it will be very long list of entertainment. So it will mention many different types of fighting also, right? Fighting, for example, like a bull fight, buffalo fight, quail fight, also chicken fight, right? There will be many different types of fighting. I think you cannot find that kind of thing in Singapore, right? But when you go out of Singapore, you can find many that kind of events in many different countries. Like for example, when you go to India, you can also see bull fights, goat fights. They have special fighter like a Baozen, right? Now in every community, then we have also Baozen, right? There's a fight. So some of the Baozen, they will fight in the cage. Sometimes they will fight on the rim. Anyway, the main is the fighting. If we enjoy seeing that kind of fighting also, we break Majjhima Sila. Okay, if we summarize, there are many different types of performance, many different types of entertainment. If we enjoy, we are breaking Majjhima Sila, medium morality. The Buddha himself avoids doing all these kind of things. Now there's a gambling. Okay, gambling means now many communities they have many different types of gambling. I don't know many things about gambling, right? But anyway, I have some devotees. They like casino. Some of them they play cards. Also, some of the devotees they like the dice. They play dice. Actually, there are many different ways of gambling in modern society. And the Buddha himself didn't do. He didn't encourage his disciple to do it also. He also prohibited his disciple from doing this kind of mistakes, this kind of gambling. Now there are many different types of betting also, right? Betting, gambling is a kind of bet, right? Like for example, like a football match bet, right? There are many other types of betting. Anything also can be considered as gambling. This is also wrong livelihoods. So we can also the Majjhima Sila. Okay, another thing is like a decoration. Now we may have many different decorations in our own body also possible, right? We may use some decorations, wearing rings, right? Many jewelries, any kind of decorations. The Buddha himself didn't use any decoration, any jewelry. He didn't allow his disciple to use also. This is also Majjhima Sila. So not only that, like luxurious beds, luxurious sitting clothes, everything also include here. So the main thing is, if we enjoy many luxurious things, many performance, we are breaking Majjhima Sila, the medium morality. Okay, not only that, yeah, one more thing we have to think about it. Then I said, we declare to gain more, to have more gain from devotees. For example, we may guide many other things to devotees, right? We may give many different advice to devotees to be rich, or we may declare I have achieved that kind of psychic power, that kind of things, this kind of things, this kind of attainment, that kind of attainment. When hearing that, we may have more faith. They may offer more and more. So whatever activities, whatever declarations, whatever speech we make to gain more, that's also breaking Majjhima Sila. So there are many people, they expect gain. They do many bad things. Right? All the things are called breaking Majjhima Sila. Another thing is okay, declaring oneself, okay, I have that kind of things, but they don't have that kind of power. Okay, I should give one simile, one example. Right? Then, okay, I have attained psychic power, but he cannot attain psychic power. He hadn't practiced this kind of things. Right? Let's talk about other people, weakness of other people. Talking about oneself too much, praising oneself, criticizing others, even making faith in the one who talk about his own quality, that they may offer more and more. This is the one thing. There are many similar cases. I'm immoral. He is not moral. I have concentration. He doesn't have concentration. I have a knowledge. He doesn't have knowledge. I'm more knowledgeable. He's not that much knowledgeable, right? But we have this kind of conversations, attracting people to gain more. In this case, this also breaking Majjhima Sila. Okay, now we have the last part, Mahasila. Okay, when we say Mahasila, this is called great morality. What does it mean, great morality? It becomes more subtle. Actually, there are some people, they may have some knowledge about like a foretelling or fortune telling, that kind of things. There are some people, they learn very well. They have already know how to guess people's minds and something. They can also see their future, right? They may need special skill for it. Okay, I should say according to my own knowledge. If I'm not mistaken, I think before we left for USA in 2018, I met one bhikkhu in Myanmar. Previously, he had been practicing in many other traditions. He also knows many things about different traditions. He would to ask many questions about Pa-Auk tradition. Also, I have to answer many of his questions. Then finally, he also talked about one of his Dhamma friends and his skill. One of his Dhamma friends can foretell people's future. He's an ordinary lay person, right? Then he also talked about it, how he gained that kind of power, that kind of ability. According to my knowledge, I can guess. I can guess means sometimes when we have very much calmness and quietness, we can see many different things. Sometimes we can also hear something. Right? So if we follow that kind of thing too much, we will become like a fortune teller. If we don't follow any kind of thing we see or we hear, just keep knowing our own meditation subject, we're in the right path. We cannot be fortune teller anymore. So I came to know that kind of ability. Okay, that means if we have meditation, if we have just concentration, like too much calmness, quietness, and tranquility, then that kind of thing also can happen. We have that kind of power to know people's future. Although it's not that good, right? But anyway, they have skill, they have concentration, although not so high, like a jhana or something. Okay, the main thing is if somebody can practice at to some level, they can know people's future, although they don't have psychic power. So sometimes we talk about people's future, or for example, your relatives are born in the future, life like this, right? Your future will be like this. Then people may believe they can gain, right, a lot of benefits. Okay, according to Buddha teaching, we are not allowed to do fortune telling. If we avoid this, we are undertaking Mahasila, the great morality. If we break, then we are breaking Mahasila, great morality. So there will be many other similar cases. Okay. When I was a little boy, I have read many books, especially when I was a teenage boy. I have read a lot of books about fortune telling, especially, for example, like singing bars, right? When a bar sing, okay, that means if songs are like this, there will the future will be like this. If the bar sing like very nice, it will be future will be like this. If the bar is very noisy, it will be that kind of omen, or we know, right, by listening the sound of the bars. Not only that, there are many other types of fortune telling, from seeing the body marks, for example, from the head to feet, right? For example, if there's a 3 mark in the forehead, that kind of thing will happen. Here's that kind of mindset, that kind of behavior, right? His future will be like this. Here, this kind of fortune, we can then that kind of again like a reading the mark of the people. Seeing the mark of the people, we can also say their future, right? That kind of things. Similarly, I'm brown. If they like this, if thinner, right? If they're double layer, there will be many different conditions of body marks. Even even in the face, there are many about the forehead, about the eyebrows, eyelash, about the nose, about the lip, about the chin, about the neck, many part of the body. We can also reach people's, we can also see the people's, then we can also guess what will be his mindset, right? Actually, some of them are really correct so far, right? I also have known some knowledge about it. Some of them are correct, some of them are not correct. Anyway, we need some skill to say that kind of things, right? We need to learn many things to say that kind of things. Not only that, there are sometimes they invite the gods or divine beings, right? They bring divine. Actually, in China, you can find many of tradition like that. They invite the like devas to come to their body, and they will say people's future or their karma or something, right? All the things also can be considered as mahasila. If we avoid it, we are undertaking mahasila. If we do that kind of things for gain, this is breaking mahasila. As ordinary person, we are not allowed to do. For lay person, we cannot say right or wrong, right? But as a Buddhist, if we don't do it, it's much better. Okay, these are about morality. Actually, there are many other things, but it will be too much, right? For example, like in Bali, we call it Chana Vijja, teaching many other things to lay devotees, right? For example, teaching how to do, right, meditation, to read people's mind, or that kind of things. Of course, if we are learning psychic power, it will be exceptions. Just like normal, without attaining jhana, right? We can do reading people's mind or that kind of things. This is just superficial knowledge, right? So if we have that kind of instruction, that kind of teaching, this is also unalignable teaching, unalignable instruction. We ourselves must not practice, we must not teach that kind of thing to lay devotees. This is also Mahasila. Okay, these are the message from Kimbimbisara to Pukusati. Not only that, there are many other informations. Okay, today I will introduce letter by letter, but I cannot finish today, right? Tomorrow I will continue. Okay, now, samvara, restraint, or sense doors. Do you have already know what is really called restraint? Right, we have to cut our sense doors in order that our some thoughts, our some deeds may not arise in our daily life. This is called samvara. Another thing is sati and samajanya, mindfulness and clear comprehension. So for about mindfulness, you have already know what is mindfulness. Clear comprehension, it will be very wide. It can be just normal, like a reflection, recollection, until we can take part in future knowledge. It's very wide. Another thing is about santuti, contentment. So Kimbimbisara also mentioned something about santuti, contentment. Okay, another name of contentment. We can also understand many other things. For example, contentment with food, clothes, living space, medicine. This is also one of these santuti. Then, not only that, we can also understand like a fewness of wish. Fewness of wish means we don't desire too much. Because sometimes, okay, I'll give one example. In Bali, we call mahita, too greedy or great greed or too much greedy. So in this kind of case, for example, one devotee offer a cake, like a big cake, 2 pieces of big cake to 2 bhikkhus, for example, right? Okay, for your clear understanding, one is a me, another bhikkhu. Okay, now here we have a Kammaṭṭhānācariya, right? They offer 2 pieces of very big cake to 2 bhikkhus. I may thought, oh, he got better one. He got bigger one. When we have this kind of thinking, that means we are too much greedy. Sometimes we think other people, the thing the other people have is better than us, right? When we have this kind of mindset, we're going to feel peaceful. So santuti. Another name of contentment, we have to understand this one also. Don't compare with other people. Your portion is your portion. You must have contentment. It will be better for you. You can feel more peaceful. Okay, this is the first part of santuti. Actually, in Mangala Sutta, I have already written down many different types of santuti. But santuti about the food, clothing, medicine, and the living space. I have already written down different types of santuti. Very long list of santuti there. It will be too wide. I will not explain here. Okay, now again. Nivarana Pahana, abandoning hindrances. So you have already known hindrances. For example, Kammaṭṭhānā, sensual desire. How should we overcome it? Of course, very clear. If we have the perceptions of repulsiveness, we will not have attachment to any living things. Right? This is very clear explanation, very clear practice for sensual desire. What about hatred? Of course, if we have metta, we don't have hatred. Similarly, karuna, mudita, upekkha, if we can practice 4 sublime abiding, we can subside anger. Okay, similarly, when we have doubts about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and the trainings, what should we do? Of course, when we have doubt, we must ask. We have to start reliable sources. If we can solve, if we can overcome doubt, of course, we have more confidence. We can practice better. Okay, the main thing is, Nivarana Pahana means there are many different types of hindrances. There are also many different ways of overcoming hindrances. We must learn, we must practice. So Kim Bimisara also sends how to overcome hindrances according to Buddha's teaching. In his message is very good idea, right? So when you are going to send message to your Dhamma friend or somebody has a lot of defilements, you can also send the same message. It will be easier for them, right, to live peacefully. Okay, now next one. Parikamma, preparatory practice. Here in this case, parikamma doesn't mean parikamma nimitta. Actually, this means preliminary practice of meditation. For example, when you are going to practice kasina, you must learn how to prepare kasina circle. This is also one of the things. When you are going to meditate, like when you are going to practice metta or karuna or mudita or any other things, you must learn how to do it. You must prepare before practicing. You must know how to prepare for meditation. This is called parikamma. For example, before meditation, we have to offer our body to the Buddha, that kind of procedure, right? Actually, you can learn this kind of thing in Visuddhimagga very much in detail. Okay, not only that, he also mentioned jhana and abhignana, absorption and psychic power. It's too high already, right? You can also imagine. I don't know how many golden leaves he sent. Now, very big information, many informations. So I have already known many of this information. It will be very thick, very big amount of golden leaves. So absorption and psychic power, it sounds very simple, but if we elaborate how to practice until we can take jhana, you can imagine Visuddhimagga Samatha chapter, right? They have to learn all the chapter. It will be as thick as Visuddhimagga, maybe. Absorption and psychic power. And this is also a good message for the Dhamma front. Okay, now we have to move the last part of today's Dhamma talk. Kammaṭṭhāna meditation. 38 meditation subject up to destruction or taint. That means up to asakaya jnana, until attain arhataship. Okay, here we have to make something clearer. Here we just say 38 meditation subjects, right? How you become 38? In the list now, in our practice, there are 40. How you become 38? So the two of meditation subjects are missing, right? For example, the light kasina and the white kasina are similar. That's why they become one. And we also have Arupa jhana, boundless space. Also, we have space kasina. These two are similar, they become one. That's why there are 38 meditation subjects. Sorry. So here, you also mention up to distraction or taint. So very simple, right? Statement is very simple. But in the original text, we can find this source in Uparipanasa commentary, Majjhima Nikaya. And we can find all this information. Actually, Kammaṭṭhānācariya written down all the practice of mindfulness of breathing, anapanasati in detail. Full in detail. So when you study Anapanasati Sutta, you may have already known, right? There are 4 different types of Anapanasati in the very beginning, also 4 in the middle, 4 in the end, altogether. Right? Like the 4 set of 4, altogether 16 types of mindfulness of breathing. He wrote in full details. So although we say meditation subject up to distraction or taint is too much already. Okay, I will give one example of Buddhanosati, okay, for your understanding. I just make simple way of Buddhanosati. When we can do Buddhanosati, we cannot attain jhana. We can attain only psychic power. Sorry, asset concentration. When we can attain asset concentration, it can be foundations of vipassana. So we haven't attained jhana yet, but we practice 4-element meditation based on that asset concentration. So we may have 4-element meditation in brief and in detail. If we say in detail, actually later in later part of Bhagusati, Lord also mentioned detail method of 4 elements. Anyway, if we talk about 4 elements in detail, that means 42 body parts. And all the rupas in 42 body parts. This is called 4 elements in detail. So without attaining jhana, we must start with 4 elements. We must start with materiality, discerning materialities. After that, go to mentalities. But we practice Namarupa together. If we can practice well, clearly, we have to do their causes. After understanding Namas, Rupas, and their causes thoroughly, then we can do Anicca Dukkha Anatta. So when inside knowledge becomes very powerful, then there will be Nibbida Jnana, like disenchantment. Also, there can be liberation, attaining path and fruition knowledge. This is just an example of Buddhanussati. So he written down all the process. Here in the case of Anapanasati, you can also imagine Anapanasati in the very beginning until Jhana. So the second part of Anapanasati is about Vipassana. All other parts are about Vipassana. So there are different angles of Vipassana based on Anapanasati. For example, based on first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, we can do Vipassana. Any jhana can be foundation. Of course, since we have a jhana, we can start discerning Nama or Rupa. Without jhana, no choice, only Rupa. Starting with Rupa, we can go to Nama and Nama Rupa and their causes. If we have attained jhana, we can do either one. Nama and Rupa or do Nama and their causes. We can go either way. But the main thing is, he written down anti-asavakaya jnana. How he can know all the things like that? Vimisara is only Sotapanna. How he can know? Actually, the same practice. Right? This is the same practice. So for Sotapanna, when they are going to meditate, they have to start with Uddiyabhaya jnana. Their Namarupa is clear already. They know how to connect as Anicca Dukkha Anatta already. Right? So they may have 25 different horizon stage, 25 different apparition stage. Starting from that, they can practice until their inside knowledge become very mature. They can take higher path and fruition knowledge. So he himself also a practitioner. He knows how to do, what to do. That's why he can send all the message to his Dhamma friend, Puggusati. So Puggusati become a Buddhist without seeing the Buddha. Not only that, based on Anapanasati, he also knows how to practice Anapanasati clearly. So he could also attain up to fourth jhana. Okay, that means now modern society, by reading the books, not that easy to understand all the practice, right? Then he's very wise and very smart. And sometimes, although we are going to read the same books, we have different level of understanding. We have different background, different knowledge, different experiences. But here in the case of Puggusati, after reading the books, he could practice by himself. He could attain up to the fourth jhana of Anapanasati. So in the Sutta, it doesn't mention he could practice Vipassana there. So this is the first part of his life. The one more thing here. People of his country, Takshila. So they also thought, or if the king got present from another king, it will affect our country. That if other king influence our king, we will lose our king, right? They will lose their country. That means their country will be controlled by another king. They worry about it. But the king Puggusati was determined. That's why she was not shaken by people's complaint. Because finally, he ordained by himself that he lived for Rajagaha to see the Buddha. Okay, one more thing here. At the time, the Buddha was living in Savatthi. From Takshila to Savatthi is nearer. Although he passed Savatthi, he passed Jetavana Monastery, He didn't know there was a Buddha in Jetavana monastery. So he just continued his journey to Rajagaha, very long journey to see the Buddha. Okay, one more thing here. He was the king before, right? He just newly ordained. He also has to go together with like a caravans. Many people, right? Suddenly he may meet people. He may get food from some devotees, some houses. So as the king, he could eat very good or choice foods. But after ordination, food quality is very bad already, but he can endure. Then also, since he was a king, he was very subtle. Like his journey is so tough, so tiring. But since he has already known the Buddha didn't use any vehicle when traveling, out of respect for the Buddha, he didn't ride any vehicle. Even he didn't wear a slipper. You can also imagine how terrible, right? Although he passed Savatthi, he didn't know Buddha was in Savatthi. On the way, he asked people, right? Something about the Buddha, also about about Rajagaha. Then some people talk about the Buddha. Oh, Buddha was not in Savatthi. You have already passed Savatthi. You have to go back Savatthi. So he had to come back to Savatthi to see the Buddha. But nightfall, he could not see the Buddha. So he had to spend one night in the porter's house. Right? So this is his life story before meeting the Buddha. Okay, tomorrow we will continue talking about the Dhamma talks delivered by the Buddha to Pukusati. So tomorrow will be the last Dhamma talk, right? Okay, may you all be able to practice three trainings, may you all be able to realize final cessation and suffering.
It is so admiring that a king can attain Sotapanna with and also like the four jhana. So they should be very busy. So is it because of their good karma, or or how many kings Pandit knows that in Buddha's time they the attainment?
Okay. Actually, the first king is Bimbisara, right? He's the first king who could attain birth and physical knowledge. Okay, so another thing is that when the Buddha visited his own country, so the King Sorona also can attain Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, right? He was too old already, that he's retired already. Another thing is King Mahanama, the older brother of Venerable Nuruddha. He was also Anagami. He was also a king in Kapilavatthu. Okay, there are some of the king, they just renounce the words, they just ordain and practice. Okay, in the case of Bhukkusati, actually he just lived in seclusion. He practiced by himself. Other people complain, he didn't, he don't care, right? He didn't care. That's why he could attain that kind of pattern, that kind of not unfortunately the four jhana, right? So that means it depends on the condition. We can say they are decision. They have strong decision to meditate, they can do it. Then they can attain path and future knowledge. They can also attain jhana. Okay.
Yeah, why I ask this question is that for us, when we have a bit more duties, we we are not able to attain anything.
Oh, this is the two different conditions, right?
Yeah.
So that mean you may be busy with your works or families or many things, right? Another thing is sometimes interest also. When you have new experiences, you may be more interested in meditation. If you are just normal, you don't have any new experiences, you're not very much interested in meditation. So that means you may need to have new experiences, right?
Sure. Venerable Sayadaw, I have a question. So recently, the purchase of extra luggage on the airplane is restricted. But we still wish to make offerings to the monks. So if we ask a person with a high position to have purchased the extra luggage, and they are able to get it at a lower price, would that be considered creating the karma of bribery? And is it accordance with the Vinaya rules for the monks to receive offerings given in that way?
Actually, for bhikkhus, it's not really problem, right? So this is your first plan. You want to offer a lot. That's why you ask somebody for help, right? Okay, bribery or this is not a good thing to do. If you just do legally, much better, right?
Okay, Bante, another question over the chat. Vandami Siado, Sugihotu. Good evening. Please, Siado, elaborate about in what ranks again and Sotapanna to attain arahatship.
In which realm? Okay, we can say human realm also, right? It's possible. Okay, one more thing. Asanya Saddha. They cannot attain any other higher attainment, right? For human realms, it's possible. Also, Deva realms possible. Brahma also possible. If they have attained Sotapanna, they can attain higher level of jhana, or they can also attain higher attainments. So that means any rounds except in Asanya Saddha. That means any good destination except in Asanya Saddha is possible. Okay.
Bante, next question. Siado, please explain the benefits of Sila.
Okay. Actually, it would be too wide, right? We should say simple way of benefits. For example, if you are moral, if you tell the truth all the time, people will believe you. You may have more confidence. You have also more confidence. We also have confidence in you. This is a good result of, right, undertaking research, not telling a lie. Okay, similarly, if we don't kill any animals, any living beings, they will not scare, they will not fear. We don't need to have fear also, right? Okay, this is a very simple benefit. Okay, one more thing. In your community, there will be many people. Some of them are really very, very rich. Then you may also like admire, oh, they are very rich. You may be envious, oh, they are very, very rich. But if you know they are doing something wrong, right? Then you cannot respect, you may not feel any respect for them. If somebody is doing very well, or they are rich, they are also moral, we respect that kind of people. Okay, if we summarize, when we are moral, we can influence people. When we are influenced by good people, moral people, our future is also right. Right? They want to mislead us. So that means there are many, many benefits of morality. According to Buddha teaching, Buddha say very simple benefit. For example, you may have good reputation. Very simple, right? Good reputation. You may have very strong confidence wherever you are. What about the crowds? Or whatever gathering you join? You may have stronger confidence. Okay. Another thing is people will love you. This is the normal, right? People will love you. Not only that, actually, they will also love you. This is very, very clear. Another thing is if you pass away, you can be reborn in good destination. Let's not talk about future lives. Let's talk about present life. So morality is like a dignity in the community. If we have morality, we have higher value. Right? We have higher value. People will value us. People will respect us. This is the normal. So if we list out the benefit of morality, if we even every single morality, every single rules it will be very long list of benefits. We cannot calculate easily, right? This one.
Bhante, I did not see any more question over the chat, but I got a last question, Bhante, about the Santuti, contentment and overcoming the hindrances Bhante mentioned. Which sutta can we read to know more?
Okay. What about Santuti? Actually, I have already given you Mala Sutta file, right? You are going to publish the books.
Yes.
In that book, I already mentioned many things about Santuti. What about Nivarana? So far, I haven't written any books. Okay, if you want to read, I'm not sure you have this one in English or not. We can find in Mahāsatipatthana Sutta commentary. It will mention when you read Mahāsatipatthana Sutta, you can find Nivarana Baba, the chapter of hindrances, right? In that chapter, then there will be long list of overcoming hindrances.
Bhante, can you repeat the sutta, the commentary name? You see, commentary.
Mahāsatipatthana Sutta commentary.
Okay.
Mahāsatipatthana Sutta. Okay.
Is it true Visakha in Deva Ram now? How we know if she attachment the ram will be say in 7 life to attain an arahatship because her sotapanna?
Okay. So actually, although they have very strong attachment to their rams, or they are like you can say bodily life, but their paramis is strong enough, right? So they were practiced. Then they can be reborn in 7 lives in essential realms. Only 7 in the essential realms, right? He also mentioned they can be reborn in the Brahma worlds many times. This is one other thing, right? So sometimes people misunderstand only 7 lives. There are some other argument also. Okay, only 7 lives means no more like actually, okay, one more thing in Ratana sort of dimension, no more 8 rebirths. Okay, but the main thing is in that kind of conditions, since they have attained birth and fruition knowledge, they have attained Sotapanna, right? So their instant knowledge will become mature naturally. Their attachment will become lesser and lesser. Finally, they will attain headship within 7 lives. Okay, then another thing.
Yeah, Sador, how to keep the sila and daily? The mind often tends towards not keeping them when facing difficulties.
But there will be many different reasons of breaking precepts, right? Okay, I will list out. Association. If all of your friends are drinker, right? If you don't drink, it's not very polite, right? Association also make you break precepts. This is one thing. If you can change environment, you can protect, you can keep your sila pure. This is one thing, right? Another thing is not knowing mistake as a mistake. Sometimes after making the same mistake very long times, we don't feel guilty. We don't think it's a mistake anymore. We are used to refer to breaking precepts, right? Second one, this is second conditions of breaking precepts. The third one, not guiding sense doors. So you don't control them, you don't train your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. If you don't train all these sense doors, you may break more precepts. This is the one thing, right? Okay, the last one, unwholesome thoughts. In one day, how many types of unwholesome thoughts do you have? You have to recall it. Some of the unwholesome thoughts, for example, the same unwholesome thoughts will make you break precepts. So every single breaking precept, you have a thought, right? It comes from the thought first. So, okay, one more thing. If you are determined, then you can protect your precept. You must be strong enough, right? If you are strong enough, you can do it. If you're not strong enough, you will break precepts. So it depends on your determination also, okay? Etta vadacha amehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriya idame nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyatayo idame nyatinam hodu Sukhita hondu nyatayo idame nyatinam hotu Sukhita hondu nyatayo idame punya asawakaya waham hotu idame punyam nibbanasa pachayo hotu mama punya bhagam sabba sadanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam punya bhagam labandu sadhu sadhu sadhu